I don't really have any thoughts to open up with, other than I was glad that we figured out a way to win the game. And when they were holding it, when we were up 10 or 12, I didn't really see any reason in extending the floor and giving them a couple open three-pointers that may have gotten them back in it. Just felt like it was going to be hard for them to win the game at that point if they're going to hold the ball. And so we just decided we were going to sit back and wait for them to attack us. And it was one of those games that you were just going to have to maximize your opportunities because there weren't going to be very many of them.
What can you say about just the offensive struggles in the first half, 8 turnovers, and even in the first few minutes when you pulled the starters?
Oh, I just thought we weren't playing with pace. We weren't playing in a stance. We weren't playing with connected screening. We weren't very good. And you're going to have games like this throughout the course of the season. I hope that this is one of the very, very few. And if you are going to have a game or two like this, it's good that you win.
Is it tough when the guys see on paper how bad a team is to be motivated and all that?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I mean, these guys are Division I basketball players, and they're when you look at how they played prior to the Mississippi State game, they had played well against Boise and kept it close most of the time. Played well against Southern Illinois, but you can say everything, and you can try to make sure that everybody understands that going in. But you shouldn't ever have to say that. Now, I say that, and 99% of the world doesn't operate under those rules, but these guys are expected to be the 1%, and we need to expect that out of ourselves. So, bottom line is, I don't think respect was a factor, and I thought we respected them. I just thought that when we missed a few layups early and they held the ball, it was going to be one of those things that was going to be a grinder.
One of your players that works very hard, not that all of them don't work hard, Coach, but Alex Barlow,
yeah, he works hard.
Really gives it a spark out there on the defense.
No
a lot of deflections. And
He does. He's a bulldog through and through. He's a bulldog through and through. And, he was, I thought, a big reason why we started moving it a little bit in the first half. He went back in after they all came out, and he went after the ball a couple times like he can and like he does.
Kyle, you guys missed a couple close ones in there. Was it frustrating not getting some of those to drop the way the offense was kind of sputtering, or what did it feel like out there for you?
At first it is a little bit, knowing that you have a few point blank misses that we should be hitting, and just their patience on the other end. You just like anxious to get back and try to redo that play or make up for that play, and with them holding the ball, so it gets you a little more jittery. But it's definitely something that we shouldn't keep like on our shoulders. We just need to move on to the next play. But it was definitely frustrating at first.
I guess for the players, are you guys all concerned about performance like that the last game before heading into conference play?
We're not concerned at all. It's just like Coach said, one of those games. I think our guys know it wasn't our best game, and we know we have to get better. And we have 2 days to prepare for St. Joe's, and that's all we're worried about.
Kellum, a couple threes there starting early in the second half, but an assist to Andrew right before halftime, giving you guys a 6-point lead. No doubt a lift going into the locker room.
Yeah, Andrew made a nice play, just making himself available and then finishing the shot. And it was a nice little, energy boost going into the half.
Kellum, when the shots aren't falling for you guys, kind of what's the mentality for you guys on the perimeter in particular, just to try and find something out of that?
Coach definitely does a good job encouraging us to take the open ones, definitely. But we just got to get in here by ourselves, get it on the gun, and get some extra shots in and make sure they go in.
Brad, you mentioned on Wednesday how spoiled everybody's got watching Rodney make all his threes, and he seemed just as open today as he was on Wednesday, if not more so. I don't know, maybe that goes to your emphasis on defense, because your defense seemed like it was pretty good for most of the game.
Pretty good all week. But we've got to get better and play at both ends of the floor more. If anybody's worried about Rodney shooting, I suggest they find something else to worry about, because it's just a matter of time with him. It's not anything to be concerned about. Nobody's going to work harder in the next 72 hours than he will, I guarantee that. So that's the last thing I'm going to be thinking about tonight.
You've always, I bet you still go by, you're usually more concerned about what kind of shots you guys are getting, and then if they're making and figuring that the law of averages will play out.
And we got pretty decent looks when we got shots. The problem is we turned it over too much, but when we got shots, we got pretty decent looks. We just didn't finish. You know, we missed a layup to start the game. We missed a couple right at the rim. You know, in a game like that, and I said this in the WNDY interview, and I said it when we played a couple exhibitions too. Game like that, if the other team is going to be very, if you're going to use clock and be very disciplined and together in using clock, then you better make your layups. You better make shots in and around the basket because your margin for error decreases because there's less possessions. There's 30 less possessions in that game than in most games. So it's going to play that way. And the last thing we're going to do is extend the floor on their point guard, who I think is the best player, because we wouldn't have been able to keep him in front if we would have extended to 94 feet.
With this week in mind, moving forward, we've all seen on the schedule starting off on the road next week in the A-10. Where do you go from here? How do you prepare to set out next week?
Prepare to play St. Joe as well as we can. You know, and kind of like Rodney's shots, New Orleans won't be on my mind at all tomorrow morning. We're gonna focus on St. Joe and try to play better and try to play Butler basketball and play as well as we can, because we're gonna have to play an A+ game the next 2 games. There's no next month, because when you look at our schedule throughout the month, you're at St. Joe, who's picked to win it. You're at Dayton, and that's a great atmosphere. You're Richmond, who's 10-5 at home. You're Gonzaga, they're okay. You're at LaSalle, who's one of the best teams in the league. You're Temple at home. You're at St. Louis. You just go on and on. I mean, you better bring it. You better be good. B+ games don't cut it anymore.
Kyle, is that, you've also gone through, an NCAA tournament, 2 Horizon League seasons. Is it kind of stimulating to go to new cities and take on new teams? I mean, you guys never played St. Joe. St. Joe's never played you.
I mean, yeah, it is exciting for us to be in this new conference, but at the end of the day, we're still just here to play Butler basketball no matter what venue we're in. Still 94 feet, 2 baskets, each of them 10 feet high. I mean, we're not changing the way we play just because we're in new venues.